So we're talking to AFC Baggy. It is, do you remember the year? The year is 1982. And hello Baggy, how are you doing?
Hey mate, fine. 1982 was looking back on it, was actually a big year for me. I turned 21, and the band I was in released our first demo tape, and we toured with the Jam on their final tour.
You toured with the Jam?
Toured with the Jam, mate. I've officially played at the Manchester Apollo, Leicester the Montfort Hall, Birmingham NEC, and Wembley Arena.
Wow. that must be a massive thrill. But just talk us through, who were the band? How did they form, and how did you get to support the Jam?
Right, well, I was in a band called Apocalypse. They were they formed when I was at school. When I was just leaving school. There was three kids who were 3 years below me, and I couldn't stand them because they were like, there was a lad called Tony Fletcher who started a fanzine up called Jamming,
right?
And was doing very, very well with it. The lad called Jeff, who was normal, then became a punk, had a big Mohican at school, and a soul boy called Chris. They sort of formed a band. They sort of like a punk band, and I met Tony in a pub, and we were just chatting, and I mentioned I played trumpet when I was in the Boys Brigade, and he said, "Oh, come down and play with us." Now, the fact that I was actually not very good at trumpet, don't really seem to bother him. And that was in like 1981, end of 1981. 1982, we managed to wangle some studio time off of Polydor, because Tony had actually become a big friend of Paul Weller's, and we recorded a demo tape there, 4 songs. Weller took on holiday, really liked one of them. Produced our, said, "Come with me." And he produced our single at the Solid Bond Studios, which was Marble Arch. Produced the single, and he said, "Oh, come on tour with us." So we did the last Jam tour.
Wow! And so how did Tony how did Tony get to know Paul Weller? Because he did it.
He interviewed him, and he got to like him, and Weller liked him. Weller liked Tony, and he actually ended up funding, sort of helping fund Jamming Records, which formed, and we sort of released our single on it, as well as other singles that we recorded at the time. He helped fund that, and it revolved around Tony's friendship with Weller, and I suppose we were lucky, but we didn't really want to release our single on our own label. We were trying to sort of sell it to other people, but it wasn't happening. So Weller said, "Oh, release it on your own. You might as well."
Yeah, and you just, as a band, you just did the one single, did you?
We actually released. It was called Teddy.
Yeah.
And we released it in 1982. And it was we recorded a B-side as well, which is called Release, which was a bit more jammy. Teddy was a bit sort of soul-y and poppy. And then we decided to release a 12-inch of it, and we actually went somewhere else and recorded. We got a lad called Dale Griffin. Does that name ring a bell with you? He was in Mott the Hoople.
Oh my God, yeah. And every John Peel session was recorded by Dale.
Yes, indeed. Well, he produced it for us. Went down to his studio, produced a very different version of it, and released. And we actually recorded an extra track called "Home of the Brave," which was a Phil Spector song by Bonnie and the Treasures. Excuse me. And we released that as a 12-inch. Then we went on tour with the Jam. We managed to get somehow. And listen, Tony used to do all the wrangling. He's still doing it now. He's actually an author he's a novelist in America. Writes a lot of biographies of people. Did R.E.M., Keith Moon, and that sort of stuff. He managed to wangle it, and we actually got a spot on a Channel 4 TV show called Whatever You Want.
Oh yes, of course. It was Keith Allen, wasn't it?
Yeah, Keith Allen was involved in it. Yeah, and they came with us on tour and filmed us on tour with the Jam. Probably the fact that we were on tour with the Jam probably helped. We ended up at the start of 83 on telly, and ended up getting signed by EMI. Recorded 2 singles for EMI, but I think we were just a tax loss. And by which time I'd left the band. So, there you go.
Oh, what were the singles you did for EMI then?
EMI released a single called People, which was... They wanted us to be like a sort of a soul band, really, like Casuals. They dressed us all in these jumpers and stuff. The Farm were doing reasonably well around that time. They wanted us to be something like them. So it was released People with a song called Going Up in the World, which was probably more jam than the Jam.
Don't stop. You'll never become the kind of person you wanted to be. Don't stop. Or I'll push you back in. Don't stop. Even though it takes so long. Don't stop. I wanna be the
and then I actually left the band because I realised I wasn't good enough. I know it sounds very self-deprecating, but I wasn't. I was rubbish. I could only play riffs, to be quite honest. And I didn't really have... But they sent me for trumpet lessons and I weren't enjoying it. Actually, my trumpet teacher was a bloke called, I think he's called Ted Emmett, and he played trumpet on Reward.
Tip of
Explodes.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'd left by then. They recorded another single called Hello Mr. Goodbye, but nothing was done of it, and see you laters, and the band split up after that. But we're all still good friends. We actually had a reunion, I think 2014, something like that, down in London. They're good, and I'm still rubbish.
So tell us about the tour. I mean, you've basically gone from being rehearsing in the local youth club to knowing Paul Weller to getting a deal, and then how many gigs had you done before you went on tour with the Jam?
Oh, the band themselves have done quite a good few. But I think probably as a 5-piece, which we were then, because there was besides Tony Fletcher, Jeff Carrigan, Chris Boyle, who were the three main members. That called Tony Page joined just before I did in '81. And I think probably we did I'd say about 30 to 40 gigs in all with that. But I think before the Jam tour, we've probably done, as a 5-piece, I'd say about 15, 20, something like that.
Okay, so I mean, what was the biggest you played? Like pubs on the London circuit, that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. We played, probably the biggest one we played was, Clarendon, I think.
Okay.
That was about it. That was a support, I think, something like that. Yeah, we did. It wasn't massive, and then suddenly you go to our first one was it Leicester? It might have been Leicester. I think the Montford Hall. You're like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I mean, I stood at the back. I weren't too bad. I was okay. I played a bit of keyboards as well. Only one finger keyboards, mate. You can't beat it.
So what was it like, the rush of supporting the Jam week?
Well, whatever you expect it to be, it's 10 times that.
The best band in the fucking world, the Jam!
The thing is, though, that they weren't expecting much of the crowd. They were there for the Jam, weren't they? Anyone who supported the Jam, you're going to get slaughtered.
Yeah.
But I always said to Tony, he said, you lot are the nearest I've got to being Jam fans.
Okay.
Playing.
Yeah, I get you.
Do you know what I mean? So, you're our supporters, and you're up on stage there performing for our supporters in a way. So I mean, when we got slagged off, but a lot of the time. But anyone's going to get slagged off. But we did get a lot of people. I mean, I remember when we played in Poole, I think the Arts Centre in Poole, there was about four or five late teenagers who came to see the Jam and ended up chatting to us at the bar all the time the Jam were playing because they liked us. So it works both ways really. I mean, I've always tried to make it that you go and see the support band as well. one, to support them, and two, you never know how good they're going to be.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you get a good one, sometimes you don't, you know.
Sometimes you're quite right, yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, I've seen like Sleaford mods absolutely bottled off supporting the specials. You know?
Yeah. No.
And so, I mean, you're on there. How long did you do? Like 30 minutes and then off, kind of thing.
Yeah, 30 minutes and then straight off. Yeah. The only time we did do 30 minutes was their last gig in Brighton, where we were asked to do 20 minutes because there was an extra special group coming on. Who we thought that'd be good. No, it weren't. It was like Gary Crowley, a load of like celebrities, and I use the word celebrities very, very loosely. Just coming along and dancing and singing to some songs, and it wasn't funny. They thought it was at the time, I think. But they only gave us like 20 minutes of our thing. Funny enough, I read an article yesterday by someone who was reviewing the Jam's last gig, and he mentioned us, and he said that we were okay, we were pretty poor really. So the biggest cheer they got was when the guitarist started playing the intro to Star. Just for a joke, we did that just to like wind the crowd up, which probably wasn't a good move, was it really?
No, it's kind of like hands off that one, you know.
Yeah, but it was funny that day because Weller actually got threatened outside because he'd had his hair cut. He had his hair sort of shaved, like a suede head.
Yeah.
And there was a load of skinheads about at the time, and mods were obviously very wary of him. And he was going past these mods, and his mods were, "Oh, it was a skinhead, let's get him." And then suddenly realised it was Weller.
Okay.
I was got himself punched in, really.
Yeah. And did you sort of did you enjoy it being with the Jam, or was it did it go by in a rush and you thought, oh crikey?
I wish I'd kept awake more, if you know what I mean. I wish I'd been more aware of it. I think at the time we were still thinking we were going to do something, and I think we probably could have. I mean, we've actually got a CD, which is you can get on Amazon, because Cherry Red released like a compilation of some of our songs.
Oh, wow.
And I listened to it, and I think they're not bad, these, but maybe not exactly right for that time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Things are always, you can't force a fashion. You know what I mean? You can't.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of bands after that who were sort of like keyboard soul, and it didn't work. You know.
No, not at all. Honestly, have you ever been in a band, Rolly?
Oh, I'm hopeless. I played in a punk band for 3 gigs, and it's just like, no, I am not good at this. You know when you just realise that somebody else, glorious tunes flow out of the fingers, and you sound like a caveman. You know?
Yeah. But I mean, I'm a bit like that with something. I must admit, I used to panic on stage. Like you'd play a song, like say before like the Jam tour. We went into we got Noma Studios, I think it was called, because Tony Fletcher had an office there, so we managed to get the rehearsal studios, and we were there for 2 days just playing the same song solid, and you knew everything, note perfect, when you were going to play, what you were going to play. First gig I went on stage, I started thinking about what I had to play instead of just letting it come naturally, and you start panicking. You start thinking, what note is it? Is it a B? Is it a C? Is it what? Is it this? Is it that?
Yeah.
And then suddenly you hit it, you think, I've got it. But then the next gig, you make the same mistake again. Sometimes I hit the wrong note. Thankfully not on a Jam tour. I remember doing it at Clarendon.
Yeah.
Especially during the solo bit. But there you go.
So what was it like for you lads touring around the country? Because I'd imagine, you're all from South London. In those days, this sounds like ancient history. Apart from an away match at the football, people didn't travel much, or you went to Benidorm for 2 weeks. Really.
No. Yeah, bit of places I've never ever been, like Birmingham. No, it was. Well, the thing was, basically, our drummer had a car, and we had a van, and that was it. So we'd finish the gig, watch the Jam again, which obviously is a privilege, really, if you think about it. Like a Jam on their last tour, you think, yeah, good this. I mean, they didn't really associate with each other backstage. I think there was a bit of tension there, unsurprisingly. But like Weller used to hang about with us, and used to come in our dressing room. We used to have a dressing room. We never had a dressing room before. Blimey, we were like celebrities. And then we'd go from there, go back to the B&B. I was in charge of booking the B&Bs. We got paid £100 a night. And that had to pay for the B&B and the petrol. And I think we came out of it with £5 each at the end of the tour. But no, so go back to the B&B, get up in the morning, drive to the next gig. I must admit, the worst gig was in South Wales. They hated us.
Is that Port Talbot, somewhere around there?
Port Talbot, mate, yeah, you're quite right. They hated us. They were trying to break into our dressing room. Partly because during one of our choruses, lead singer guitarist started making sheet noises down the mic. They weren't impressed. So I was at the back going, no! So we had to all dive in the back of the van and reverse out very quickly.
Okay. So what was Paul Weller like in those days? Because, I mean, obviously I was a fan of the Jam, and it was like, you just thought, oh, this guy's a genius, but he seemed very quiet. Was he
was very quiet. He was drinking then. So he used to drink, he drank a lot. The thing is, I think he used to spend a lot of time, he's very serious man, but very knowledgeable, and he's just a good bloke as far as I'm concerned. You know, he was never critical, he was always offering advice, saying maybe try this and maybe do that. Never slagged us off, and he didn't used to slag people off. If he did, he'd give you a reason why he did it. Yeah. There was no reason or for anything as to why he would do it. I mean, I remember a few years later, I told him, we saw him at a place near Buckingham Palace, I forgot what it was now, but there was a gig that was at the ICA, something like that, and I saw him there and we were chatting, and I said, told him I was getting married and going to have kids, but no, you won't get me doing that. I'm thinking, hang on a second, and I look at him now, I think he's been married twice, he's got 8 kids. That's when he took his own advice.
Yeah, well, that's everybody says that until they get married and have kids. Yeah, I'm never going to grow up. Yeah,
no, I'm not going to be. What are you doing that for? But no, he was a good. But when we did the single, he produced our first single. It was called Teddy. We had a middle 8 that was a bit trite. I think everyone sort of thought that, but we haven't got anything else. And he wrote a special bit for it. And for me, it was brilliant because it was a trumpet bit. So he actually it's a lovely picture of me at a piano. Him at the piano, me standing next to him playing trumpet. Yeah. And that's on my wall at home. It's just such a great memory. Even down to the blue and white striped trousers I was wearing. I've no idea why.
Yeah, well, we all make fashion mistakes when we're younger. and then you stop bothering about fashion. Once kids come along.
Normally when you get married.
Yeah. Yeah, true. So, I remember Paul Weller being interviewed on the telly, and they're saying, "Why are you splitting the Jam up?" And he's sort of like, "Yeah, it's time to move on. I want to do new things." I mean, were they actually sort of falling out backstage? Did he not like the other guys anymore, or was that it?
No, not so much that. No, I think he just wanted to move on because there was the stuff he was doing. Like when he was doing his demos, he was playing drums, he was playing bass, and I don't think he thought that Rick and Bruce could do it. And on their case, I read Rick Buckler's autobiography, and to him, he admits in it, I think, if you read between the lines, he admits that he was angry because that was his pension going.
Come on, girl, succumb to the need forever. All the things that I care about, I do too much. All the things that I'm not sure about, I set it out at once. I said it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. If for trouble, if I take it's gone by differently. Come on, boy, come on, girl, succumb to the need forever. Come on, boy, come on, girl, succumb to the need forever.
What else was he going to do? Weller was the Jam, and he wanted to move on. You look at some of the later stuff they did. And Beat Surrender was their last song, and that was like number 1 that year, and I think at Christmas or something like that. And that sort of like led into the Style Council. And I don't think that the others wanted to do that. They wanted to carry on doing like jammy stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't think he could do that. That was his reason. I mean, at least he was honest about his reason. His reason was that he wanted to move on to other stuff. Yeah. And I think a lot of Jam fans didn't like that idea either.
Well, I wouldn't have minded it if I'd have liked it all, but I thought the Style Council were kind of a singles band, you know.
Oh no, some of their album tracks. If you actually listen to it now, I actually sort of listened to them. I was a big Jam fan. I'm a big Weller fan, and I've always thought Style Council, a bit sort of poppyish. But if you actually listen to them, it's quality stuff. For the time as well as at the as well as now. I think if you listen to it now, it's brilliant. I must say, I probably felt the same as you. Felt the same as you at the time, but if you listen to it now, give it another listen and have a go.
There's the one shake the roots of the money tree. No go praying to the pristine altars. Waiting for the blessing with holy water. But the same old wealth in the same old hands. The same old people stay in command. Watch your money go round, watch your money go round. They got it wrapped up tight, they got it safe and sound. Watch your money go round, watch your money go round. Spot from grace and hit the ground.
Yeah, well, I thought the 12-inch version of Money Go Round was great. That reminded me of Precious, So I'm quite happy with that. But on Cafe Bleu, and he's trying to be a rapper and then a jazz man and then a soul man, it was kind of like you're trying to do too much. Just stick to one thing.
These our favourite shops, my favourite Style Council album. And I think he started getting into politics more as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I don't think Bruce and Rick were that way inclined.
No.
I must admit. I do think he was right. Maybe at least he warned people. He didn't just like do the tour and go, we're finished now. He said, right. And in a way, I think he made sure that they had a payday. And that's because if you think about it, I mean, they formed at one stage, they were both in from the Jam.
Yes.
And making their money that way. With, I think it's Russ Hastings, isn't it, or something like that. And Bruce Foxton is still doing from the Jam, so in a way he's still trading off it.
He went on to be in Stiff Little Fingers for quite a few years.
He did indeed, yes.
I saw him a few times with them, I thought they were really good.
I don't know why he didn't stick with Stiff Little Fingers, but has Ali McMordy gone back there now?
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Stiff Little Fingers.
Yeah, Ali McMordy's a bassist, he's even better. It's his stuff. It's his stuff, He plays kind of like dubby reggae stuff, but punky stuff as well, so... Yeah, so I mean that was your time with the Jam, and the band split. What did you do then?
What did I do?
Yeah.
When the band split in '83, I just went off, basically, and didn't do anything. To be honest with you, I mean I've always loved writing and that sort of stuff. I was doing like poetry, but I basically went off, got married, had kids. To be honest, and ended up moving up north. In 1990, and then sort of found comedy at some stage. Well, comedy found me. I'm not too sure. I was a karaoke presenter for a good while, and then a quiz master.
Yeah.
As you well know, and I actually ended up managing and writing songs for my stepdaughter's band.
Oh, I see.
At one place.
Okay.
And then. And now nothing. Funny enough, I've actually written a book, a novel, which should be coming out next year. Hopefully, I've got a publisher, but the bloke who runs the thing is an infections nurse, so he's slightly busy at the moment in this crisis time.
Oh, okay.
But he's got the book, so he's going to publish it maybe later this year, early next year. It's called "I'm with a Band, Aren't I?" And it's sort of based on when I was in the band. Part of it's the story. I mean, I would say a third of it's the band, a third of it's my relationship with my parents, and a third of it's a relationship with a girl. Relationship with a girl is completely made up. The lad in the book is actually quite a good-looking bloke who's really cool, which is those who knew me when I was that age know it's not me. Some of the band stuff's true, and some of the parent stuff's true. But it's a novel based on it. It's like they say your first novel is pretty true, don't they? I think.
Well, everybody's got one book in them.
Yeah. If it was true, then there must be an awful lot of serial killers out there who no one knows who they are.
Right, okay. Rightio. So, going back to 1982, you're in the band, and I was at school, and woke up one morning to find out that Argentina had invaded an island which I thought was somewhere in the Outer Hebrides.
The conflict began on the 2nd of April when Argentine forces invaded the Falkland Islands. In the UK, a political crisis followed. Ministers resigned because of Britain's apparent lack of preparation. But Mrs. Thatcher responded quickly. Within days, she had dispatched 2 aircraft carriers, dozens of warships, and thousands of troops. In the knowledge that these pictures would be broadcast in Argentina, Harrier jump jets and Sea King helicopters were left on the deck of HMS Hermes when they would normally be stored below. As the British ships began their 8,000-mile journey, Argentina swore in their own governor of the Falklands. The Royal Marines based on the islands were too small in number to put up any real resistance, and many were captured.
I've never heard of it.
I hadn't either.
Has anyone seriously heard of the Falklands? Haven't they?
No.
To me, the Falklands at the time, Margaret Thatcher was like not popular.
Well, there were 3 million on the dollar.
Policies and stuff.
Yeah.
Were like really unpopular. Everyone was up feeling the pinch. She wasn't doing good, and then suddenly this came along. Personally, I think she saw it and thought, all right, we'll do something with this. Let's send the troops out. Let's make it sort of a big national thing. And the fact that we won raised her profile, I think. Do you not think that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was like 3 million-ish on the dole officially, and they changed the way of counting the figures. There was more like 4 million, which was the worst since the 1930s. She was unbelievably unpopular. I think the Tory party were considering giving her the stab in the back. And do you remember John Knott resigning? The Defence Secretary resigned live on telly.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I quite like. He was alright, John Knott. He looked a bit of a geek. Mind you, they all do, let's be honest.
Finally, Mr. Knott, who's going to leave politics at the election, snapped. My task is to maintain a balance between all 3 services, and most expert opinion, setting aside those who want to drive divisions between the services, is of the opinion that we've probably got the balance about right.
But why should the public on this issue, as regards the future of the Royal Navy, believe you, a transient, here today and, if I may say so, gone tomorrow politician, rather than a senior officer of many years?
I'm fed up with this interview, really. It's ridiculous, Roland Gent.
Well, thank you, Mr. Knott.
Well,
Did what's his name take over then? Did Cecil Parkinson get something to do with it at some stage?
No, it's probably shagging the secretary, I'd have thought.
Oh, yeah, I thought I linked you into that one.
But
I remember him waving out the window at some stage.
Yeah, but he was Cecil Parkinson, in those days, a politician did something wrong and then resigned. Good Lord, who'd have thought it?
Yeah. Well, so I can't believe it. The Falklands actually lasted for 3 months. I don't remember it lasting that long.
Well, it was all like, as I remember, what's the Falklands? Where is it? And then you had all these programs about how it's very important for Britain to have the Falklands, and you're going, what? The place that nobody knew about. And then there was a thing where they were trying to suggest there was tons of oil under the Falklands. Absolutely tons of it, which they've not found any of to this day. And then it was all very patriotic and all that sort of thing. And
it was, yeah. See, I've never really been like that. My brother, who's sadly passed away now, but he was very involved in the National Front. In like 79, 80, something like that. He was a bit younger. He was a year younger than me. I knew a lot of what the right wing were doing. I mean, obviously, he's my brother, and we blood's thicker than water. But we didn't agree, and that put me the other way. I was a very, very socialist at the time, and I saw, and still am, and saw, and just sort of all this jingoism and all that sort of stuff, just like grated. Like everyone was going, yeah, we've got to keep the Falklands. We need to keep the Falklands. You're like, you know, it's about people who lived there, but you didn't know we had the Falklands before.
I know. It was. They waved them all off, you know, really patriotically and all that. And then I think it. They took Prince Andrew with them, didn't they, as well?
Well, no, he was in an helicopter at some stage.
Yeah. Good job. There weren't any 17-year-olds around, but
that's what I was thinking. Well, maybe he'd heard that the Argentinian streets were quite young.
Yeah, probably. Oh, lots of hot babes in the Argentina. I don't know, but you know, it's like, oh, he's gonna get blown up, and it's like, oh, how can they do that, you know? And the thing was that then we suddenly discovered they got this thing called Exocet, which kept blowing our ships up. Which was supplied by the French. You know,
thanks, French people.
Yeah, the French were all celebrating that one.
The sea was very calm. We were looking out to sea, and I thought that it looked like a torpedo was on its way because the sea was shimmering and shaking, if you like. So I said I thought there was a torpedo. The pilot also had trained his glasses around to the same spot, and he said, no, it's an Exocet. The officer of the watch and other members of the bridge crew started to take cover. But I remember myself and the second officer of the watch becoming transfixed to the missile on its way in, which really does amaze me now when I come to think of it, but we watched it almost to the point of impact when we quickly huddled together and dropped to the floor.
And it loads of our ships, and then you suddenly realised, you know, all this, we're going to do this, and we're all in charge, you know. It's just chaos. It was all like, you know, they were making it up as they went along. They didn't know what had hit them, and I think the main one was that the Atlantic conveyor was full of all the helicopters, and that got hit by a missile. That went down, so that's why they had to walk it across the Falklands.
Yeah. Well, I remember. I mean, the Belgrano. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And all that stuff. That was on my birthday. It was on my 21st birthday. That.
Whoa.
And because it was outside the waters, wasn't it? It was, in a way, it was like, that's not fair. That's not British.
Other developments in the South Atlantic, a British submarine torpedoed and severely damaged the Argentine cruiser General Belgrano. That was last night. The Argentines admit that the Belgrano was hit and damaged and say ships are going to the area to help if necessary. Well, we'll bring you more news as it happens throughout the day.
Because of Belgrano, Sheffield got hit. HMS Sheffield, that was like 2 days later.
Yep.
And, I mean, the thing is with the Belgrano, we killed 323 sailors. Sheffield, 20 sailors died. Now, sad for the sailors and for their families and all that sort of stuff, but if we hadn't done Belgrano, Sheffield wouldn't have happened, I don't think.
Well, you don't know. You don't know whether
No. You don't. I know what you're saying, but to me it was a big thing, and the right wing took it over, didn't they? They said, oh yes, it's the British way, and that enabled, I think, Thatcher to push even more right wing theories and that sort of stuff, and she became her the big figurehead, didn't she?
Yeah.
Did she go over there? I can't remember now. I've got a picture of her in my head of her on a tank.
No, that was just mucking around on Salisbury Plain, that was.
No, all right, didn't see
publicity stunt kind of thing, you know.
I mean, I remember it as well because didn't Spurs have Ardiles playing for him?
Yeah.
And he was getting booed.
Yeah, so he went to Paris Saint-Germain, didn't he?
So that was like, that was like everybody like jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, he's Argentinian, therefore he must. In a way, yeah, he's born in Argentina. Yeah, he's playing over here. Don't we call him killing anybody? Do you?
No. And then it was all good friends again after that, you know. Yeah. Which was a strange one. And then once I was looking at politics, and the biggest opponent to the Conservatives were actually the SDP Liberal Alliance.
Right.
Yeah, they were in the polls the SDP Liberal Alliance had actually overtaken the Conservatives. Because Maggie Thatcher was so unpopular. And,
oh, right, yes, yeah. Before this, yeah.
Labour were busy shooting.
Yeah, because that was David Steele?
Yeah, it's David Steele and David
Owen.
David Owen, yeah, two Davids. So
yeah, he was in his pocket, wasn't he? In spin image.
Yeah, I know. So they were actually proving more popular because Labour were shooting themselves in the foot, I think, arguing amongst themselves as usual, and then
no, never known them to do that.
Then the war is won, and Margaret Thatcher is the most popular Prime Minister ever. Forget the unemployed. We won the war. That's it.
But that's the thing, isn't it? That's the British people in a nutshell, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Rise of the Sun newspaper sort of is indirectly associated to that, isn't it? Because they were very much the paper that supports our troops. Is that right?
Oh God, yeah.
They used that, so therefore that was a big thing for them. And I suppose in a way you could always attribute the Falklands to the Rise of the Sun as well.
Well, the Sun was very, very popular, but they increased the popularity and went to over 3 million sales a day. This was a day when the Mirror and the Sun would compete every day to see who got the most. And the Sun used to top it out, and they got even more popular because they introduced bingo.
Ah, yes. Sun bingo. Oh dear, yes.
What does that say about the British public?
Yeah, it basically says everything there, really. Because someone managed to cheat, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was 82. 1 year, someone managed to cheat on some bingo. I'll have a quick look see if I can find it, but I think someone at the printers printed managed to print a thing off, and he got a dodgy number sheet and then gave the numbers to somebody else.
So the funny thing was, I mean, we had the Falklands War ends on June the 14th. Argentine forces surrender to British forces. June the 13th, the day before that, the 1982 FIFA World Cup begins in Spain.
Good timing. With loads of Argentinians, if they lost, didn't they? They won their early games.
Yeah, they didn't do too well, I don't think, in that one.
I think let's keep quiet because England didn't either, did they?
Well, England never do, but so it was like England go to Spain, and gotta remember. Do you remember Serious Drinking at all? The band?
Yes. Oh, yes. Great band.
Oh yes, they had a song called "We're Gonna Win the World Cup in Spain." Ron's gonna hoist that World Cup again.
We're gonna win the World Cup in Spain. We're gonna hoist that World Cup again. Run this leather, Derby style. Run this leather, Bobby Moore. Run this leather, Roger Hart. We're gonna win the World Cup in Spain.
Ron needs another Bobby Moore.
So we're on our way. We are Ron's 22.
No. We had this time. We'll get it right.
That's right. Yeah.
This time
more than any other time. This time.
That was it.
Oh, it was truthful. Because I remember that year because England actually got knocked out without losing a game.
Yeah.
And they drew 0-0 with Spain. I remember Kevin Keegan was injured. He was the top goal scorer that year in Blackwood for Southampton. He came on with Trevor Brookham. They were like the saviours, and we got nowhere near the goal really, to be honest.
Oh no, Keegan come in at the back post and he did a fancy header and hit it wide.
Yeah, if he'd actually headed it properly, it'd have probably gone in.
Had he got that one, I think we would have been equal with Germany. Or we needed to win 2-0, and it was like we'd drawn with Germany 0-0. Germany beat Spain. England needed to win 2-0. It comes on with 15 minutes left. does this flashy header which just goes wide. Had he scored that, could have been in to win it, but wasn't. You know?
But it wasn't the most out of that World Cup. I mean, I know Italy won it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Italy beat
Germany.
France. They beat Germany.
3-1.
Worst thing out of that was Schumacher's assault on Battiston, wasn't it?
Oh, God, that was horrendous.
Tackled by Bossi. Platini taking over and playing a great ball for Battiston. That was a magnificent ball from Platini, and Battiston so unlucky. Just wonder what the referee thought about the challenge from Schumacher on Battiston. It certainly looked a wild jump. Platini comes to have a word with Lopez to see whether he's ready to come on without really having...
That was in the semi-final, wasn't it? It was like, I think it was 1-1. Was it 1-1 at the time or 2-1? He was a defender, Battiston. He knocked it past him, and then suddenly...
No, he
gave a goal kick.
It was a goalie. It was...
Yeah.
So Schumacher just basically flattened the... Was he a defender or the goalie that he flattened?
He was defender. Battiston was the defender.
Oh.
The bloke that went through. It was a ball over the top, and he found him. He'd never been in that position before, I don't think. But he's knocked it past the keeper. I've got this, and suddenly, knocks out. And but the referee gave a goal kick. He broke his jaw.
Yeah, I know. And then he went on.
They won on penalties, Germany.
Yeah, he went on to save the penalty, and everybody's like, "Good old Germany. We really like them." Well played.
But that was also the thing with Germany. I mean, everyone was happy Germany lost the final because they'd also they had a thing where they drew.
With Austria.
They played Austria. They beat them 1-0, and then both teams realised that if neither team scored again, both of them were going through, so they were kicking it about between themselves.
Yeah, basically. But all the players stayed in the positions and were just like, pass it to the forward, back to the midfield, back to the defence, back to the goalie.
They changed the rules after that.
Yeah, you have to play the finishing games at the same point.
Yeah.
It was Algeria, I think, who didn't really like that.
Algeria got knocked out, yeah.
See, it comes flooding back now, all this nonsense. And it was a year that, everybody cheered for Northern Ireland.
They got stuck though, didn't they? 4-1, didn't they? They lost 4-1.
Yeah, but that Northern Ireland, they went and beat Spain in Spain.
Yeah, was that the
Jerry Armstrong?
Who scored the goal there? Was that Jerry Armstrong, or was it the Jerry Armstrong's goal?
Yeah.
Jerry Armstrong, what a worker he is. Striding away there with Hamilton to his right, Norman Whiteside up on the far side of the area. Still Billy Hamilton, he's got past Tendilio. And Armstrong! Northern Ireland have scored through Jerry Armstrong. A mistake by the goalkeeper, and it's the 100th goal of this World Cup tournament. And it could be a priceless one for Northern Ireland. Watch Arcanada, that's not the best goalkeeper in Europe on that form. And Armstrong drives it through him, through the defender's legs. Northern Ireland have taken the lead.
Not the lad who played not Ray Houghton. That was a different year, wasn't it? That was Italy, I think.
That's a different island. Talking about Northern Ireland.
Oh yeah, you're quite right. Yeah. Well, it's Ireland. Listen, I'm trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about there.
Yeah. So I mean, Northern Ireland under Billy Bingham, they beat Spain 1-0, and Norman Whiteside played at age 17. In the World Cup.
Imagine that now.
Yeah, I know. A mate of mine from Belfast, and he played schools football to a high level, and this enormous guy called Norman from the Shankill Road came on for the other team, and nobody got near him. 2 years later, Norman's playing in the World Cup final.
Yeah, and your mate's going, he kicked me.
I couldn't get near him.
You see this scar?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Norman.
Yeah, so England didn't win the World Cup, but the Italian bloke went utterly bonkers mental after scoring the winning goal.
Trying to find Rubeck. Look at Scherer here. It's 2 against 2, but Altobelli has gone. No, he hasn't gone offside. He's checked. This is Conti. It's Rossi. It's Scherer. feeling for offside, not given. Scherer right across to Marco Tardelli! 2-0 to Italy!
What was Chesterfield doing that year?
Oh, probably rubbish as usual. No, well, we had our best team just breaking up. Arthur Cox was the manager. Remember Mad Arthur Cox?
Yes, indeed.
Well,
what division were you in then?
Well, we'll be in Division 3 as always. Arthur Cox actually came. This is how things have changed from a team in Turkey he was managing called Galatasaray.
All right, yes.
we went from part-time as Galatasaray to manage Chesterfield.
Chesterfield.
And he put together our best ever team, which had Danny Wilson in it. I suppose he was the main man. Jeff Salmons. Do you remember Jeff Salmons?
The name, yeah, I know the name, yeah.
Oh, Sheffield United, Leicester, Stoke. And a guy called Alan Birch, Ernie Moss up front. And we won the Anglo-Scottish Cup. I don't know if you remember that cup.
Oh, I do indeed.
It was... we beat Glasgow Rangers 3-0 at home. And
Chesterfield beat Rangers.
Yeah, and we went up to Ibrox and drew 1-0. Honestly outclassed them. Rangers have actually etched the game out of the history books. That was 1981, I think. And then Cox left to go to Newcastle. His assistant took over, and we nearly got promoted again, but just failed 3 years on the trot. And then the team broke up, and we got relegated again in '84. So that's the way it goes. Once every 10 years, the club spends a load of money trying to get into the second tier of English football. Fails, then the wheels fall off again.
Yeah. Well, Wimbledon were doing their up and down as they normally do. We got relegated 83, 82.
Yeah.
They were relegated from Division 3 into Division 4. Then next season came back up again.
All right.
But then sort of started upwards. Our upward trend then up to 88.
What started it though?
I don't know really. It was the same team. The same team were playing together. Besson was there, and Wally Downs. Colkey was there. I think they just might have picked a few more players up, but it was the very much the team at the time. It was a team effort, and they were a team rather than they didn't have any standout players at the time, and sort of built it up from there and there.
Yeah, I remember Besant being in the goals. I remember Laurie Sanchez played for him a lot. He played for Reading as well, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I remember he scored an own goal when we beat him 7-1. But that's another story for another day. So, and Wimbledon, you could rely on them for a 0-0 draw. And basically...
It was always dodgy at our ground, wasn't it? I must admit.
A hard-fought 0-0, Wimbledon. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had like Stuart Evans up front. He was like 6 foot floor. He was massive.
Yeah.
And who else was playing? Kevin Gage was playing. Went on to play at Sheffield United.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
But a lot of them sort of like we never sort of knew who's, a lot of them never went on to like do nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they were.
Actually, our manager now, Glenn Hodges, he was playing at the time.
Oh, right, yeah, and he went to Sheffield United with Wally Downs.
He was playing for them, yeah. So they were a team rather than sort of like, and then like at the end of '82. So like they picked up a few more players, and they sort of built it up slowly because Dave Bassett was in charge. So he sort of like picked up a lot of players from non-league.
Yeah.
Billy came at some stage, didn't he, and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, he knew what he was doing though, Dave Bassett, in terms of team building.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. And
he always kind of built a team wherever he went. It wasn't going to be pretty, but he could get a result.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest, no one cared about the lower leagues today. It was just like Liverpool at the time, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, quite. I mean, we were talking about...
They won the league again, didn't they? You can always say, who won the league in 1980? Liverpool.
or occasionally Everton. So yeah, I mean, it was Liverpool all the time. So what do we have? Just back to music. You were talking about Dexys Midnight Runners earlier.
I read that the biggest selling single that year was Dexys Come On Eileen. video being made. The video was made outside a shop just round the corner from where Apocalypse used to rehearse. And we went around and saw him sort of recording. It was like just round the corner from where I lived as well. It was just down the end of the road. All stood outside this shop. All these lights on and all that sort of stuff. We just above it there was like a big piece of grass, and it was just like full of kids and older teenagers like us and that sort of thing, young 20s. We just sat up there watching them. But in fact, we didn't get anywhere near them. You know, it wasn't like they weren't sort of like stars. You know, these days, you know, if the big band was doing something near you, you'd have people going back, "Oh, can you give your autograph and you sang this and you'll do a selfie." Obviously, we didn't have selfies then. No. But everyone just like left them. It was like, "Oh, they're on. There you go." Those Dexys, look, like an everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
Top bands recording outside, but they recorded that video out there. Just
people
outside.
People might have thought the gypsies had turned up though.
Hey, in that part of London, mate, there was loads of them at the time.
That was a funny thing with Dexys. We were talking about image before. They changed their image. 3 great albums, completely changed their image on every album.
They did, yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I was listening to. Their first album was a great album, Search for the Young Soul Rebels. I didn't realise how many of those songs are actually covers. I thought that some of them were their own. I know 7 Days Too Long and all that sort of stuff, but some of them, I thought, and I was just like listening to some old Northern Soul the other day, and a Dexys song coming up. Why have they done this? But it was a cover. I can't be sure it was now.
Oh, right.
And it was amazing how around that time, especially the 80s, so many people were nicking old covers and like doing them. Like The Only Way Is Up by Years Up, and that was one of hers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not till like 88 or something like that.
No.
Yeah, listening to those sort of things. How many people were nicking stuff? Because I think at the time you don't realise, because the internet wasn't about, so you couldn't check it out, could you?
No, and if it was the first time you heard something personally, you know, some old fart DJ who had been around in the 60s would say, "Hey, that was a song by such and such," you'd be like, "I don't care about that." Great, you know, even like The Lion Sleeps Tonight, when that was a number 1 when I was at school, you know, the teachers going, "Oh, that's Carl Denver," or whoever it was, and we're like, not bothered about him, some old dead guy, who cares? You know?
Yeah, we like Tight Fit.
Yeah. Well,
but don't tell everyone.
2 of them, yeah.
But 82 was the year that Boy George appeared as well, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, and this was the thing. It was like the whole, like the Jam split up, Stiff Little Fingers split up a year later, the Clash split up a year later. You know, the Buzzcocks had already split, and that the Stranglers changed their sound. Susie and the Banshees changed their sound, and it was like, hang on, this is all going great. Now it's the end of an era.
Yeah, it's like punk never happened. 83.
Within 1 year. Obviously, then I got into all like the Discharge and the Exploited and Anti-Pasty and stuff like that. But
you either went one way or the other.
Yeah. But it was a kind of a change in that I'm just looking at some of the albums which came out. You got Soft Cell, Non-Stop Erotic Cabaret, which I do love. Yeah. I do think it's a great album. So, you know, electronica's coming in. We've also got top albums like UFO and Motorhead. But Kraftwerk got to number 2 with The Man Machine as well. So you got this kind of 2 different things going on.
Yeah, well, Pelican West came out as well, didn't it?
Pelican
100.
Beer Gut 100. Yeah.
Pelican 100. They were good. Listen, again, it's like the benefit of age. You can listen to songs now, being as old as we are.
Yeah.
We're years old. And you can appreciate some of the older songs. You listen to Welcome 100 now, and you think they're good.
Yeah.
Well, man, you listen, you go, what's he on about? But I must admit, I looked at all the albums that came out in '81, and there was only 3 that I particularly like. Pelican West was one of them. The Gift, obviously, which was a jam.
Yeah.
And Flamboy 3.
Yeah.
Because they released their first album. The rest of the stuff, I'm like, oh dear. No, wasn't a big Soft Cell fan. I wasn't really into all that electronica stuff.
The thing was with the New Romantics, I thought they all did a good first song or a good first album, and then they went kind of pop or rubbish.
Yeah.
I mean, Culture Club was supposed to be really alternative, and then it's just like, oh right, we're kind of.
I mean, I can actually remember watching Boy George on Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
And I actually, because you read all these things, read the papers. Oh, I remember my dad saying, "Is that a boy or a girl?" I can actually remember my mum saying, "Is that a boy or a girl?" And I just remember it being a good song. I just really liked it. I thought, that's not a bad song, that.
Yeah.
That's quite good then.
Yeah. And these days, people are like, what is that gay bloke? Gay? What, does he like another bloke?
Yeah.
It was still like.
The thing is, I lived near Covent Garden as well. Like where my mum and dad lived was just over the road from Westminster Bridge. So you could cross over the bridge. Like, it was brilliant for me and my brother. We used to go to all these gigs when we were like 16, 17.
Wow.
Like 1970s, end of the 70s, like 77, right up to like the 80s. Go to all these gigs, and we could go anywhere and then get a night bus home. So night buses all went to Trafalgar Square, then we'd like stagger home from Trafalgar Square. Brilliant for us. But Covent Garden was like, started to be full of people dressing like Boy George. The day after he was on telly, you suddenly see all these people dressing like him.
Yeah, I know. And the whole like King's Road. The first time I went to London, like on my own or with some mates, went, let's go down the King's Road because that's where it'll all be happening. And we're just like, this is crap.
It was, yeah. It was pictures for the tourists. You got to pay me to have a picture taken.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And there was like one shop with some clothes in it, and we were like, what is this? This is what I've heard about. And then we went to Carnaby Street, and that was as plastic as could be.
Oh yes, Carnaby Street was indeed, yeah. That just got that was on its way out from then. I mean, there was some good bands about, like the Chords and Purple Arts and that sort of stuff. But that mod thing, because like Quadrophenia had been like 79, and everyone had sort of cottoned onto that, but it was dying. And I think the early 80s, sort of 83, 84, because it was at a stage where people didn't know what they were wanting to listen to, because like a lot of like soul-y stuff started coming in, like Loose Ends and like Level 42 were about at the time, weren't they? I mean, Level 42 actually, their early stuff is better than their later stuff, but all that was like underground and all that sort of thing. Because the Message came out in 82, didn't it?
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep
from
going.
Oh, did it? Okay, so that's a whole new thing. Which
I think it did towards the end of 82. This is going to say, I'm name dropping again. Warning, because I remember, because Weller, when we recorded our single, where the studios was around the corner from Marble Arch. At Marble Arch, there was I think it was HMV, but it was around the corner. It might have been Virgin. I don't know if Virgin was about them. And he sent me out to go and buy the Message on import. I remember he gave me a tenner. I know it won't be that much, but in there was like £8 something. I thought, I've never paid £8 for a single in my life. And I really, but goes, it's good this, mate, you like this. I really wanted to say to him, it's not for me, it's for Paul Weller. But I didn't. I don't know what I didn't. I could have done that. So I go back and he played it, and we were like, yeah, whatever. That sort of stuff. Jeff, our bass player, was really into it. I remember that. And the drummer, Chris, they both really liked it. To me, it was like, yeah, give or take, whatever. You can have it. But I think it probably influenced Jeff more than anything else. But maybe that sort of influenced, he was sort of starting getting into all that sort of stuff, I think, then. Yeah. Full circle there, back to Weller.
Yeah, well, back to Paul Weller again. I guess my favourite albums of this year, which I still have on the shelf, I'll say XTC, English Settlement, because I was a big fan of them. That got Senses Working Overtime on it. Love that song.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously the Clash Combat Rock.
This is a public service announcement with guitar.
Clash albums, I was like, I don't know, I wasn't a big fan after that.
Well, I'm still on websites
I love the Clash,
with people arguing.
Combat Rock was a bit too, to me it was a bit poppy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Probably upset you by saying that, haven't I?
No, it is, but the thing was, I mean, I was on a website with people arguing that Sandinista was a great record, and I'm like, no, it wasn't.
No, it was a triple album, that was it.
It was a triple album that was like 2 albums too long. I thought Sandinista, because that's when they went totally reggae, and by then, like, all the British punk fans were like, "Oh, the Clash have cleared off; they've gone to America." I was reading fanzines when people were saying, "You might as well be the Rolling Stones," all this kind of thing. But they did make it huge in America off of the back of Combat Rock.
Yeah.
To me, it's kind of it's polished, and the reason why it's polished is Glyn Johns got his hands on it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've read his book, Glyn Johns. The only bit he misses out was like, yes, then I produced The Who, and Keith Moon got up to some antics, but I'm not going to tell you those in this book. I'm like, fuck off, that's the best thing about it. So
you should read, I'll tell you what you should read, Roland, is Dear John, I think it's called.
Dear Boy?
Which is Tony Fletcher's book on Keith Moon. Really, really good.
I have his autobiography, or his biography, I should say, which is about half an inch thick. The Keith Moon one. I think it's good.
Oh, right.
But it might...
No. Tony Fletcher's. Well, that may be the one you've got. I don't know, but it is very, very good. Dear John.
I got that.
It's good.
But just to tell you, back to the Clash and Combat Rock.
Yeah.
I've got a double album of the outtakes, which was like, it would have ended up another Sandinista. It would have ended up a sprawling mess, unless Glyn Johns had turned up. And he said he sat down with Joe Strummer every day, and they just went through it and went, look, you can have that song, but I'm going to turn it into this. You can have that song, I'm going to turn it into that, and that one's rubbish, that's going. And he said he got on fine with Joe Strummer, and like then Mick Jones turned up 2 weeks later going, right, what are we doing? And it's like, well, we've done it, see you, Mick. So that tells you to turn up for work on time, if nothing else. And it would have been, a sort of a cinematic dubby soundtrack thing with stuff that sounded like funk or Prince, which Mick Jones had written, and you can see where he took that and went on to Big Audio Dynamite. But even then he would have needed that polishing up. The demos are there, all like "Know Your Rights." I mean, I bought the single, and I stuck the sticker proudly on my French book with "Know Your Rights" on it. my French exercise book had a Clash sticker on it. But that was really a comeback as far as a lot of people in England were concerned. And
because I remember at the time, around that time, producers were sort of taking over, weren't they?
Yeah.
Everything was being overproduced. Because when we did our single the year later, we used the studio engineer was in a band called Chack.
From Sheffield. They're from Sheffield, weren't they?
Sheffield band, correct? Yeah. And he sort of, and him and the producer sort of like almost tried to take us. They did. They took our song and changed it into something else. Yeah. Because I think producers were kings at the time, weren't they?
Well, I don't know. Never having been in the record industry, but Chack were a very early electronic band. Well, they were a band from Sheffield who turned, I think, into like a 2-piece electronic experiment kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I think around about that time, White Man got hold of the synthesizer. It would have been better playing a guitar.
Yeah, they started. They were sort of trying to turn us into like a white funk band, I think, at the time. Sort of thing. We're like, no, we're not like that. Well, I think possibly a couple of our members might have quite liked that. But the thing is, with our band, we had punk elements, we had soul elements, we had reggae elements, all sort of combining. And it combined quite well.
Yeah.
But when one wanted to take over, that's where it sort of started going a bit wrong, really.
Yeah. You didn't play any funk slap bass, because I think that's the point at which bands go bad, when the bass player decides he's going to play funky slap bass.
Yeah, not me. Nowhere near me, but I think anywhere near a guitar.
But
or a drum. In fact, or a mic. I can't sing either.
Ah, well, never mind. And just 82 as well, Dare by the Human League. So that was October 81 was a hit from I bought it. It was a hit forever, basically, that one. Yeah.
Oh, Dare was a great album.
Everybody needs cash to spend. Everybody needs love and affection. Everybody needs 2 or 3 friends. These are the things that dreams are made of. These are the things that dreams are made of.
And
Don't You Want Me is number 1 at the start of the year, isn't it? I think.
yeah, it was over Christmas. And
But there was also Love and Dancing as well, wasn't there?
oh, was that the dub album?
That was the dub version of that, and that was excellent as well.
The Human League.
I really like that.
The Human League Orchestra or something like that.
Yes, that's right, yeah. I remember. I'll tell you what else happened this year as well, that I was slightly involved in, was Channel 4.
Oh, right, okay.
Channel 4 started on November the 2nd, November the 2nd, 1982. Countdown.
Richard
Was
Whiteley.
the first thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it gave us things like comic strip and all that sort of stuff. But at the time, I was working for an advertising agency in the accounts department, the advertising agency who did all the advertising for Channel 4 launching.
This is Channel 4, the new national television service broadcasting through the transmitters of the Independent Broadcasting Authority. Channel 4 starts today at 4:45, offering a variety of new and interesting programmes 7 days a week.
And I remember we were all sat in like reception when Channel 4 came on, sat there with loads of beers. There was advertising would do in those days. Everything was alcohol fuelled.
Oh, God.
Well, and other stuff, I should imagine, but didn't get anywhere near that. But I remember Channel 4 coming on. It was in November, and like everyone had to like retune your tellies and that sort of stuff, didn't they? But it was good. Channel 4, and obviously it's still going, so it must have been quite good, mustn't it?
Well, it was, and what was it called? Channel 4 Letter Word. Remember that one? They've got,
yeah.
And Brookside came on, and
Brookside was there.
It was immediately shocking the nation, as you know, Southerners were saying, "Why can't these Scousers have subtitles?" And you know, and it's left-wing filth. That was the other one, and there was a naked man and swearing.
Filth was spelled Phil.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was. I remember Channel 4. I remember that one starting because I used to do a lot of. Well, I was involved in like the artwork, not the artwork side of it, but our company was, and we came up with the ideas and all that sort of stuff. We had a bloke called John Webster who was like almost like God in the advertising world at the time, and he just came back. He did the Hofmeister Bear as well, George the Bear.
Oh, he came up with the bear.
That was based on the message.
What does that mean?
The Hofmeister Bear, you know the music he used to walk along to?
Yeah.
That was rips off of the message.
Oh, of course, yeah. Because it was obviously the bear was on the actual lager. So
the bear was on the lager, then we had like a trendy cool bear, didn't we? He was drinking Hofmeister.
He's like Chaz and Dave of the drinks world or something.
Since leaving the forest, the lads have been introducing me to some traditional occasions, like Ascot, to see the horses, Prince of Wales, and the penguins. A place where all the right gear is important, like Hofmeister, chilled to perfection, of course. Well, best bring your own lager. Looks like the local stuff makes your arms go funny.
Hofmeister, a great lager. Follow the bear.
Like, yes, Chaz and Dave of the lager world. Well, we did the Chaz and Dave adverts as well.
Well,
the company I worked at were like one of the biggest advertising agencies in England.
Wow.
Called Those Massimi Polyps, BMP.
Oh,
I got a job in the accounts department there.
Okay. So
it's quite good. So I live me way in now. Saying, yeah, I can do this, I can do this. And I've been there about 2 months. My boss called me and she went, "You can't do any of that, can you?" I went, "No."
Oh.
I'll be honest with you. I said, "Are you going to sack me?" She went, "No." I said, "Oh, you're all right. You could quite." I was quite lively for the department, so they were quite happy with me. She said, "We'll just stay behind after work and I'll teach you how to do it." Okay. It wasn't a euphemism, honest. And she did. She taught me everything. She taught me how to do everything. I'll never forget it. So, Irish Vengeance, if you're out there listening, thanks very much.
Okay, right, that's good. Worked at an ad agency. Yeah, can you remember any of the other adverts from Yo back in the day? I can't.
Back in those ones, blimey. I mean, the most at that particular time, I can't actually remember what we did. Because we were involved in a lot of songs, a lot of adverts. We ended up doing like the GLC adverts, and we did the AIDS adverts.
Oh, the ones with the block of ice going towards you, like well,
it was more the the ones that was in the. Do you remember one that was in the paper? There was a girl who said, "This is what a girl looks like who doesn't have AIDS." And then he turned it over, and there was a picture of a girl said, "This is what a girl looks like who does have AIDS," and it was the same picture.
Yeah. Okay.
But I remember with that, what they had to do, they had to get a model from Holland to do it, because no model from this country would take it on.
Okay. So just basically, there'll be people pointing a finger at her in the street, going, "You've got AIDS. You've got AIDS."
Yeah. So no one in this country would take it on.
Wow. Okay. Now that brings me back to the 70s. You obviously remember the public information films. The horrendous ones. The girl with the long hair next to the lathe. You see the hair, you see the lathe. Oh, now all the hair's.
What's going to happen there?
Yeah.
Green Cross Code Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But what I want to know is, there was Stranger Danger. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
With a pervert in the park, and it's just like, who would be the pervert? I mean, honestly, and how did his agent sell him the gig?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
once you be this really, Really? Because in a way the AIDS thing was very similar to that, wasn't it? It was like people would always associate you with adverts, especially if you were relatively famous.
Yeah, you're going to be popular. Everybody in the country will know you, mate. Just sign here. What's it for? AIDS. Did you say AIDS? Yeah, kind of. Don't matter. Just sign it. No.
Because Terence Higgins died in '82.
Oh my God! Right, yeah, right, okay.
And then he was sort of started all that out, didn't he? The Terence Higgins Trust and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He actually died in '82.
So I've just done a brief bit of research on Channel 4. They had Oracle. Oh yes, you could watch the Oracle instead of.
Oh yeah, no.
That was exciting.
I mean, the best things for me on Channel 4 was the Comic Strip Presents.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tell me, amigo, what's the meanest, nastiest, dirtiest hell hotel in town?
Yes, for two mean, ugly, gunslinging bastards like us to stay in for 2 weeks.
I want the Hotel Bastardos. It's a bitch. This is the manager. He's my best friend.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Bastardos.
You'll be in my hotel at 4 o'clock, you bastard, you crazy.
It was the only thing worth watching when it started.
It was, pretty much, yeah. GLC.
Yeah, and they had 5 Gone Mad on Mescaline.
I say, this is a jolly wizard luncheon. You really are going to make someone a great little wife one day.
My favourite, ham and turkey sandwiches, heaps of tomatoes, fresh lettuce and lashings of ginger beer.
This is just the kind of holiday I like. Picnicky meals and not too much adventure.
Ha! Well, don't speak too soon, old thing.
Gavado.
How strange. Why on earth would somebody want to feed Timmy?
Yes, that was rather odd. Shh.
I say, look over there. What a strange pair.
Yes, one's got a big nose and thick lips, and the other one's got mean, clever little eyes.
And they're unshaven. Just look at the way they're slouching.
Pooh. I hope they don't come anywhere near me. I feel as if I can smell them from here.
Shh. I can hear them talking.
What about the sparklers, Punchy?
Don't you worry about them. I'll look on that.
Well, now that you're out of jail, you better lie low.
Do you think they're escaped convicts?
Yes, or traitors to a country.
Kind of
We'd better call the police.
5 Gone Mad endorse it. I love them. Oh, and of course the cowboy one, Fistful of Travellers Checks. I love that. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've actually got them all upstairs. Better look down here, actually.
Even today, if somebody says what is it, I just want to. When you're showing somebody a ticket, I want to say it's a Euro Rover, old man. The thing was mine.
I remember watching on telly though. You know, so do you remember the Kids from Fame?
Yeah. Who couldn't forget the Kids from Fame?
You've got big dreams. You want fame. Well, fame costs. And right here is where you start paying. Don't you know who I am? Remember my name. Say, I'm gonna live forever. I'm gonna learn how to fly. I feel it coming together.
The thing is, like, the film was on, then they did the TV thing. Because my wife Lorraine loves it. She loves the Kids from Fame. And I must admit, I found myself a big fan of it as well. But the soundtracks from the TV programmes were number ones in the UK this year.
Oh yeah. And I remember on the news they came to Britain. They were all on a coach. And they did a concert tour. They were getting mobbed like the Beatles, you know.
They were great. High Fidelity. Hi.
Is that the only one? Is that the only one you remember?
That's one of the ones I remember. I think that's Lorraine's favourite, High Fidelity. I think.
Well, I've talked to Colette, my missus, and a lot of her friends who seem to like it, and the main reason they watched the Kids from Fame was Leroy's trousers.
Oh yeah.
They're quite tight in the trouser department. The ballerina chap. And
I forgot what his name was now. I'll try and remember what his name was.
Leroy, and then they had Sharovsky, Mr. Sharovsky, who was the piano teacher.
Yeah.
And Doris Schwartz.
Doris, yeah. Oh, that's right, yeah, Doris. That was, I think that was her favourite, Doris. She always wanted to be her.
Oh.
Jean Anthony Ray, there you go. That's who played Leroy.
He ended up smashed out of his head on drugs, I think.
I think so, yeah. There was rumours he died, and then he hadn't died, and then he had died. I have no idea if he is alive. We could rely on. Apparently he's dead.
You can't sue us. Well done.
Good on. He can't be in a bit of. Well, according to Wikipedia, he's dead. He might not be. The complications of a stroke.
Oh well, that's the way it was. And who else? I'm just trying to remember the other ones. It was Danny, and who was it? Bruno played the piano.
Bruno, yeah. He was a real piano player, wasn't he?
Yeah, could actually play the piano. Well done on the casting. So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Laurie Singer. Who she played?
Cello player. She played the cello. What
was her name in it?
Oh, I don't know. Doreen.
I don't know. Hang on. Hang on, that's her there. Where are we gone? Come on, where are you, girl? In Fame. Julie Miller.
All right.
But it was that Saturday night thing, Kids from Fame? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably that early Saturday night spot. But as I remember the plot, everybody always had to have a trauma and had to talk.
Oh yeah, it was a trauma always going on.
Mr. Sharovsky, they had to talk to him, and he was a wise old man. They would tell them what to do, and then they had a song and dance routine, and it was all right at the end. After a song and dance routine, that's it, you know.
And what's it called? Debbie Allen was she played the teacher, didn't she? We're paying bloods in sweats.
Paying costs, and right here's where you start paying. Yeah.
Paying, yeah. Hey.
That's it. And and then some of them were actual actors, and some of them went on to drugs. There you go. So yeah.
Oh, Happy Days. I think Happy Days was still on, wasn't it?
Crikey. Well, had Fonzie jumped the shark by then? I don't know.
He might have done. I think Mork and Mindy might have finished as well. It might have gone on by that point.
Yeah, okay. And I was just looking back at Channel 4. 82, the first edition of The Tube is broadcast.
Right, pay very close attention indeed. Walk to your television set and turn it up. It's November the 5th, and we're going to do something now that's going to go in the annals of television history. It's a live rock show. From now on, you'll be watching fantastic Tube.
5th November. In fact, see, back to my band again, Tony Fletcher ended up being a presenter on it at one stage.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. Did he
did a bit of presenting on it.
Did he have short black hair? Did he have like short black hair and that kind of thing?
No, he was punky blonde hair.
All right, okay. All right, so he'd gone off mob by then, has he, and turned into a TV presenter?
No, he wasn't. He was never in mod. He was always a bit of sort of a little punky boy, Tony.
Oh right, okay.
The Tube was presented by live host Tony Fletcher's on it. Actually, he's got his There you go. He's got his own Wikipedia page.
Oh, right, okay. Well, the thing was with the Tube, there was a hilarious presenter who didn't last long, who had a sort of a David Sylvian out of Japan haircut, and he would just talk at the person at 100 miles an hour and not let them get a word in. And he interviewed Bono at U2. It was just
How did Bono not get a word in?
No, Bono could not get a word in, and he was just like, almost like Bono was just like throwing his arms up in despair, and he got nothing out of him at all. But it was groundbreaking, the Tube. I just thought it was.
I was, yeah. You used to rush home for that, didn't you?
It was our show. It was not the adults' show.
The thing is, yeah, was it 5 o'clock it was on?
5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, see, I always missed it. I always had to try and tape them if I remembered. Mum and Dad weren't watching something. Because I was working, wasn't I? So I was 21 at the time. You were a baby.
Well, yeah, I'd be like, get off, stand in front of the screen, get off, I'm watching this, you know. And
yeah. What was you in 82? You were about 17?
No, I would have been
16.
16, yeah. 15, 16. And a bit of trivia about the Tube, they tried to book Half Man, Half Biscuit to play live on the Tube, but Tranmere Rovers were playing on a Friday night, so they didn't go.
I'll tell you what, I love Half Man, Half Biscuit. I love what's it, the referees? Oh, the referee's
alphabet.
Referee, don't they?
The referee's alphabet.
Yes.
Wise,
fantastic.
Yates, the kind of town where a referee would come from. What was it? T is for the 20-man pushing match or whatever.
There you go. The paragraph before Half Man, Half Biscuit on Google. The Jam performed on the first edition of the show in 82. It was the last TV appearance while he split up.
Yeah, remember it? Yeah. And the first band that played were the Toy Dolls, who played in the hallway. Jules Holland walked in and said, "Here's the Toy Dolls," and they played. And then,
was that Nelly the Elephant?
Yeah. They were kind of a cool, kind of a bit like the British version of the Dickies at the time.
Yeah. Did they? When was it? It must have been early the year after that Jules got told off or kicked off for saying "groovy fuckers." Well,
that would have been when it finished, because that finished it basically. 87, 88, sometime like then. Because he did say that. I read a book about him, and he said basically, I think what went off in my mind was, I don't want to be here anymore. So subconsciously, he just went and said that. He said, they had a pre-advert to the Tube coming on. It's like, we'll be on live in half an hour. Be there or be a completely ungroovy fucker.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Well, Tony Fletcher interviewed Wham.
Oh well done. Whatever became of them, hey? As if they.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. They think they'll never do anything, will they?
No. So.
He's actually written his own memoir, which I think you'd like, actually, Tony.
Oh yeah.
It's called Boy About Town.
I'll have a look.
It's his memoir. It's very, very good. Have a look at that. It's on Amazon and stuff. It's very good. So I'd say that and the Keith Moon book are his best two books. He's done a biography of Wilson Pickett as well.
Oh man.
He's very, 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 very good at what he does. Oh, and the guy to the Clash as well. You'll be pleased to hear.
All right, I'll have a read at that as well. But I do remember one time. You remember the Lords of the New Church at all?
I don't remember the name. Okay, there was someone in it who was relatively famous.
Stiv Bators, formerly, they were like a punk supergroup. So Stiv Bators were from the Dead Boys. Brian James, ex of the Damned.
Brian James, that's who I remember from.
And bass player Dave Trigana out of the Sham 69.
Sham 69.
And Nicky Turner out of the Barracudas. And one hit with Summer Fun, which is
that was a good single as well.
Best ever fun pop single, I think, Summer Fun, by the Backarackarooders. Remember how the intro used to go?
Yeah.
The
Backarackarooders.
Yeah, so that was them, and they were on the Tube, and they did this thing where they opened the dressing room door to each band and they would wave. They opened the door to the Lords of the New Church. Stiv Bators, the singer, was completely naked, with his bits between his legs. That was on 5 o'clock on TV. That was pretty much what Jules Holland did. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of great memories, apart from the fact that they always put Paul Young on it every week.
Yeah, he was on it quite a few times, wasn't he? I must admit.
So we've run out of artists. Quick, get Paul Young on. He's had a hit. You know, who can we get up Newcastle quickly? Paul Young will do anything. So, yes, I mean, cause I'm just looking at. They did actually have Gary Glitter on it, but I don't think we're going to repeat that. So, this is still something which you would not get today. At, 5:30 or 6 on a channel watched by, well, a quarter of the country. You know, you've got Heaven 17, Robert Palmer, Iggy Pop, Depeche Mode, The Cult, Big Country, The Stranglers, Susie and the Banshees, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. That was their first break, wasn't it? First big break.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. He had so many. I mean, the style character bit as well, didn't they?
Yeah, Dexys, George Clinton, The Go-Go's, Grandmaster Flash, Gregory Isaacs, The Jam.
Wow.
All sorts.
Oh, geez. Just think Jesus and Mary saying that. And Shalimar, aren't we?
Yeah, well, I was more into the Jesus and Mary chain than Shalimar.
You wouldn't get a show these days putting on those different. I suppose in a way it was like a teenager's top of the pops on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was very irreverent.
Oh yeah, and I mean some of the interviews I've seen looking back on them, Muriel Gray, who's like she's a high-powered executive or something these days, used to cringe at some of their interviews. I mean, my dad used to take the piss out of them. They can't even speak properly, but they were like, it was a bit flying by the seat of the pants TV, basically. So yeah, wonderful show. It had to end like all things, but it lasted 5 years, and great. And it was a good time, I thought.
On Monday, you may recall that we've got something very, very light and sensitive and extremely romantic coming up for you now. There's a new as yet unsigned band from Liverpool. They're called Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and Jules went to Liverpool to be encouraged by them.
When you wanna go to it, relax, don't do it. When you wanna come, relax, don't do it. When you wanna start to do it, relax, don't do it. When you wanna come, whoa. When you wanna come, relax, don't do it. When you wanna go to it, relax, don't do it. When you wanna come.
Is there a record available of what we've just heard?
No, there isn't, but there will be soon, we hope.
Have you got a record deal yet?
No, and this is why we're doing this. Isn't this why we're doing this?
Why we're doing it.
All that exposure, we should get one soon. Also, I wondered why. I mean, it's an interesting mix of having funk with the sort of, how would you describe, bondage wear, would you say? S&M.
That's a way of putting it. It's just like, we just exaggerate on the way we dress normally, you know what I mean? It's kind of a natural thing for us to do.
Have you got a following that would come dressed similar to how you are?
Oh, we'd like
I
that.
just arrived on the train.
Mostly get slowest on the way.
Apart from the war.
I'll tell you what Channel 4 did though, as well in '82, was they showed the Snowman.
Oh, Walking in the Air.
That was the first time ever. And I think it's been on every year since. But it was the first showing of the Snowman.
Oh, right, okay. And lots and lots of things which they. I mean, I think these days the channel would have been shut down after about 10 minutes. Channel 4, because it's sort of like it clearly didn't make money. It didn't really make money for years, but it was on. It was on because it was on. And the first showing of the Red Triangle as well, when a naughty bit would come on, naughty bit would come on and a red triangle would appear.
I remember, the Red Triangle was on all the way through the Word, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, was that must have been Channel 4.
That was Channel 4, yeah, 1990.
I auditioned to present the Word. I got to the last 8.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well done.
I had to go to London, and then Katie Puckrick turns up. And then she's immediately ushered into the studio, and they're all, all over. And it's like, okay, us auditionees can see what is happening now. It's quite clear what's going to happen. So I had to.
Was Hafty there at the time?
Oh God, no. we had to do a mock interview with Terry Christian and Derek Hatton. Would you believe?
Right. Oh yeah.
I mean,
well, Derek Hatton was a big thing on because I remember at work when we was at work as well. We did all the advertising at the time for Century Radio, which was a big launch down in London. And Derek Hatton was one of their big names that they'd signed.
Like talk radio kind of thing.
Yeah, sort of thing. Yeah, Century Radio, and it was like, oh, do you really want? And he came down to us and like, hey, I want to meet Derek Hatton. And it was like, right. No one moved and was like, you go and meet Derek Hatton.
Oh God!
We had to pick people out to go and say hello to, because no one wanted to speak to him because he was a dick.
Well, yeah, and how on earth he managed to get away with doing what he did in Liverpool City Council when he was only the deputy mayor or deputy leader of the council, and everybody in Liverpool was like, yeah, the leader's just like this old bloke, and he pushes him around with his little mob. And I said to mates of mine in Liverpool, if you don't like him, I mean, why don't you get 10 of them and just go beat him up? There's enough hooligans in Liverpool to start a fight. And he just managed to get away with it and bankrupt the city in the end. It was crazy.
That was like 85 minutes, something like that, I think.
Yeah. So that's the way that went. Yeah, and I was taking my exams. I didn't. I nearly went to see the Jam on the last tour at De Montfort Hall, but a mate of mine went.
Oh, you nearly saw us then.
Yeah, right. nearly. But I couldn't go. So doing my exams, and I thought I'd go and see the Clash as well at Sheffield, but I think a mate of mine let me down, and I had no money, and then I'd got some exams to do as well, and all this sort of thing. So it was always like, ooh. And then as soon as I left school, all my favourite bands split up.
Yeah, I must admit, I do regret. I mean, I've never ever seen the Clash. Never saw the Clash. And I've never seen the Style Council.
No. Wow.
Never saw the Style Council. Seen when I last see the Jam. It's like people put these things on Facebook, don't they? Oh, here's 6 bands. Which one of these you think I haven't seen? And I'll put the Clash on every time, and everyone goes, "Oh, you'd have seen them." Oh, Style Council, he'd have seen them. He won't have seen Curiosity Killed the Cat.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Sorry, I did. In fact, it was about 84 or so. Curiosity Killed 83, I think. They were like just starting, I think.
Their only thing was they had a man who wore a hat back to front.
Ben. Well, they did a couple of good songs, Down to Earth and Hey, What's Your Number? Telephone number, I think. They were alright.
Yeah.
I saw them. They played London School of Economics with a band who really wanted to be Jesus and the Mary Chain, but weren't good enough, and they achieved their aim by eventually playing to nobody, because everybody left the room to go to the bar.
Oh, right, okay.
And I think it was probably their aim. I don't really know. But yeah, because the thing is that around about 82 or 7, from the late 70s to 82. I just saw because I live near the Marquee in London.
Wow.
Near Soho. So, and I knew the bloke on the door, so we used to get lifted up him.
Wow.
Just seen so many bands. I saw the Alarm when they were a mod band, and
really,
and then when they became Alarm, and stuff like that. All these. I remember going to see. I went with my brother. This was definitely not my choice. We saw Slade, who were headlining. He was a big Slade fan. Discharge were the support band.
Wow.
And the first band on, band from Ireland, no one had ever heard of them. U2.
Oh. Were they any good? Were U2 any good? No.
No, they weren't. I went to the bar. But we only went for Slade, really, to be honest. The Discharge weren't that good either, I must admit. Well, but it was the day we used to. I remember that was at the Lyceum. I remember at the Lyceum seeing Specials, Madness, Selector, Dexys, and another band, I can't remember who it was now, all on one bill.
Wow.
And one of my first gigs there, Stiff Little Fingers, Gang of Four, Mekons, Human League, the first Human League, and The Fall.
Was that on the Fast Products tour or something? Or
I don't know, something like that. I'm not sure, but Stiff Little. I haven't seen The Fall. I can at least talk to Steve Titley. I haven't seen him once. I remember, someone threw a whole pint in Marquis Smith's chest, and then tried to jump on stage to get him, and Lard kicked kicked him in the face on the stage. Normal thing. Does that happen in those days?
Well, yeah. I mean, gigs were violent, weren't they?
Yeah.
There's no getting away from it, you know.
No.
I mean,
Well, they were violent, but you know, you jump about like a loopy, and if you fell over, they would sort of at least move back and give you a chance to get up. If you didn't get up, you got kicked to death. But at least they gave you a bit of a chance, a sporting chance.
Yeah. But you mentioned skinheads before, and it would just be like, you would go to a gig, the skinheads would turn up, and everybody's like, okay, is this going to kick off?
Yeah. Well, they did it at the last Jam gig in Brighton. There was like obviously loads of skinheads hanging about because they knew mods were going there, and they were hung about outside. They actually opened the doors to anyone who was outside to let them in, and all the skinheads came in, and it was like moving through the crowd and all that sort of stuff. I remember seeing it from backstage, thinking, "I'm staying backstage." A lot easier.
Well,
so there's a bit of kicker, and the thing is, all the skinheads went out first and waited outside for the mods, so the crowd didn't disperse as quick as it should.
No, because really, where I was from, the skinheads kind of came out of the mod thing. They were kind of the same, but you could never. You didn't have skinheads beating up mods, but you know, straight people would want to have a go at skinheads. So it was a kind of weird dynamic that they got going on.
Yeah. I remember going like after the Brighton gig, we all went back to the Jams Hotel, and there was still skinheads hanging about, and we just sat in the bar drinking.
Yeah.
And like Weller was sat in one corner, Bruce was sat in another, and Rick was sat in another. And they weren't sort of talking to each other really, and just sat there, got pissed.
Wow.
And then went back to our B&B. Got back there about 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd be up at 7 to get a train back to London to go and play a football match. When I got back to London, it was cancelled. Thanks. The world's biggest hangover.
Oh my god. Well, 1982, eh? what a year. So there you go. So what do you reckon? Good year, bad year, or formative year?
Formative year, definitely a formative year. Good year, personally for me. But music-wise, bit poor, rubbish really. Especially with the Jam going.
Yeah. Okay. And you thought, well, Paul Weller's going to go on to do something amazing here.
In hindsight, if I'd had money, I'd have put a bet on it, but no. I don't know really, to be honest. He played some of his stuff. He played some of the stuff when we was like doing the single. He played some of his stuff he was doing, and it sounded all right. It sounded a bit poppy,
yeah.
But it was all right.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it was difficult for people who were so into the Jam to make the transition from the Jam to the Style Council, and I think that's where he lost a lot of people.
Yeah, but he's kept going. I know I like a lot of his solo stuff. Singles of the Style Council I'll listen to, and I've kind of kept with his albums as he's gone through the years. I've not got his latest one yet though, so I don't.
He's got a new one coming out this year. One coming out in June, I think. His last album was did a live album called Aspects. It's very, very good. It's very like he's 60 now, and he's 60 odd, I think, 63. And it's a 63-year-old man's album, but it's very, very good. Orchestral and all that sort of stuff, live and well overall. It's the sort of thing you put on at night, you know what I mean?
There you go, that's 1982 with AFC Baggy, all those stories about supporting the Jam, remembering watching the Tube, Falklands War and albums and things that happened in the music biz. If you've got a particular year you'd like to hear me reminisce about with somebody, why not drop us a line? These podcasts are available on Apple and Spotify and all the big channels, Anchor as well. I'm Roland Gent. The podcast is called Do You Remember? And we just pick a different year every time, so do check us out on all the available channels.